go ahead and talk a little bit about some intel and try to figure out where we are in that capacity. Tonight is interesting because there's a lot of information that came in last night, well, over the weekend as well, but really yesterday evening, this morning, and then it kind of got to the point where we got what we got by around lunchtime and not much since then, which is okay. But one thing that is really cool about where we are now is, you notice how we've started with Iraq almost every call. You know, it's sort of like, okay, what's going on in Iraq and how does it affect us? Finally, we're at the point where what's going on in Iraq is a fait accompli. F-A-I-T, fait accompli. An accomplished feat, okay? And what that means is that for once, we've got Iraq agreed to do everything they need to do. We have the parliament, we've got a body for a period of time, 2 years. They don't even have to publish in the Gazette. They just need to make their rate known internationally. Now, the word is they're supposed to do that tomorrow for, let's call it Iraq or for the Middle East. And we are supposed to learn about it on Thursday. They have pushed this out. Every time we turn around, we think we're going to get something in the Gazette either on Saturday or on Wednesday or on Saturday or on Wednesday. Well, guess what? We're at the point now, we're so far along in this process with all the currencies, the GCR and everything, that we no longer have to focus on Iraq. It's done. From our perspective, it's no longer a factor. Yes, it's great that they're going to have a new rate, but we really do not have to be mindful of where they are anymore. Okay? So that's new, and that's something we found out today. Now, what else is going on with other countries? We do have Zimbabwe having announced their gold-backed Zimbabwe dollar. Okay? And this is gold-backed currency that they will use to spend, not our gold bonds, which are also gold-backed, but this gold-backed currency known as the dollar, Zimbabwe dollar. Yesterday, we were in touch with a bank that gave us a rate as the ZIM itself was being traded higher. Started in the 20 or 30 cent range on the screen, went up to 53 cents, up to 60-some cents, 70 some odd cents, and we were given the impression that by 11:30 this morning, the ZIM would be at $1 on the front screens as on par with the U.S. dollar and also with the Canadian dollar. Now, I know that sounds strange. How can it be on par with both when the U.S. dollar is worth quite a bit more than the Canadian dollar? I can't answer that exactly right now, but I do know that it's a very positive thing. Now, what does that have to do with the ZIM bonds that we hold? It's not exactly a direct relationship, but there is some correlation. And no, it does not mean that we'll have a $1 front screen rate on the ZIM, meaning the ZIM bonds, okay, that we hold. And it's so important that you understand the concept of redeeming your ZIM bonds as opposed to exchanging, because it is a gold-backed bond that has very high value. You know the denominations of the notes are very high, and you know that a rate, even a front screen rate, is going to turn into boku dollars. Okay? So, don't worry about it. Okay? Don't worry about it. It's going to be worth a lot. Now, so that's really cool. So that, and I understand that the Mnangagwa, the new Prime Minister of Zimbabwe, is supposed to speak at the UN tomorrow around 10 in the morning, I believe. Now, does that mean anything in terms of our timing? It could. I've heard it both ways. I've heard that this thing that we're going through for the RV, the GCR, is not event-driven. It is sequential. Certain things have to happen, and when they occur, we move to the next item, and then so on and so on. It's sequential. It's not event-driven. So whether somebody makes a speech or doesn't make a speech really has very little to do, if anything, with what it is we're waiting for. And that's encouraging, because I believe from all of the different sources that I got today, we are in a very good place for this to come through for us within the next, I'm going to say, day or two. I'm trying not to call it, guys. I'm doing my best. I'm not calling it. I'm just telling you all the information that I'm getting is pointing toward that. I feel confident about it because I feel confident about the people that are providing it. In this case, some of them are just exquisite contacts, okay? And they're right smack dab in the middle of the process. Most of the banks have gone dark, have gone quiet. They're on gag orders, NDAs, whatever you want to call it. Occasionally, we get one or two things that we can get from our bank contacts that give us a pretty good idea on the timing, and that's what we're getting so far, is a pretty good idea on it. Let's see. As far as Tier 3s, which seem to always be out there, Tier 3s, if they're not done, they're about done by now. Doesn't mean that Tier 3s have received liquidity, though. They could be staged. Their accounts could be staged, meaning they could see the money in their accounts. Their paymasters have the money allocated to the various recipients of Tier 3, and then they will receive their liquidity the same time we receive our liquidity as Tier 4 with our appointments, either at the time that we set our appointments or literally at the time that we go in for our redemptions. We know that the Zim platforms are in the same boat. Zim platforms have been talked about paying out Friday night. We've heard over the weekend. We've heard last night. They haven't paid out yet either, but we believe they will in very short order. And probably that will also coincide with our start, so that really nobody gets an unfair advantage and that everybody gets sort of a shotgun start, regardless of what aspect of the currencies you're involved in, whether it's Zim platforms, whether it's exchanges, whether it's certain groups in Tier 4, et cetera, et cetera. We think we're all going to essentially get liquidity at about the same time. Okay, and that's what really matters. There's our shotgun start. So we have that type of information. Now, to go a little bit further, there is a large amount of cleanup on aisle 3, as I call it, that is ongoing. However, around lunchtime today, I think we hit a 100% marker on certain number of cleanup, and that was very, very positive for us. So that whatever is happening out there, they've reached a level where the wording is that, all systems are set. We are ready. All systems are ready, meaning ready to go. And with any success, in the next 24 to 36 hours, we will be getting the green light to proceed. That's as close as I can say right now. But what's happening is so much, and that's regarding security. We know all systems, the security is vitally important for us. We know that. And everything is moving along in very good order. And, is that everybody? I don't necessarily know that that's everybody, but we believe it's everybody that needs to be handled before we start. And that's going to be important. Anything else I could add to that would just be unnecessary. I think you get the impression of what I'm trying to say. Sue did a wonderful job of painting the picture of what it would be like for us to come out of the Redemption Center and take what would be an uh-oh moment and turn it into an oh boy moment. That's what I want everybody to feel. I'm looking forward to it, guys. I've been working for months now on our projects and how they're going to come together. And I mean by months, I mean actually planning, doing the strategic planning for those things to come together. And all I want for you guys to do is just stay tuned to your emails when we send one out to you to let you know what it is we're planning and when and how. Because we're still in planning stages, and we will be for months. However, we'll let you know early on so that you can find out how you can participate in Rebuild America and how you can participate in the VRN work that we're going to do. And there will be overlap between those two. There will be a lot of overlap. I've already planned it to be that way on the One other thing I'd like to put out to the administration that's listening to the big call is the concept of us helping to rebuild America with the infrastructure. The infrastructure, it could be roads, bridges, internet, cabling, underground, all of that stuff needs to be done in a lot of areas of the country to essentially make us more self-reliant. Now, what I'm going to suggest is what I mentioned briefly a couple of weeks or so ago, and that was if our government can help us to help them by giving us, we don't need an interest rate to pay us on some kind of infrastructure bond. But what we do need is a way to have a tax credit for the amounts that we donate or utilize for infrastructure, so that whatever we are able to put together as a public-private partnership for infrastructure with our individual governors, let's say, in each state, whatever we're able to put together, can we also get a government tax credit, especially a federal tax credit in kind? That, to me, would be very helpful, and I think would encourage a lot of participation from Big Call listeners all over the country to help in that area. Because we're going to do it with Rebuild America, with homes, with schools, with clinics, with food domes, with community gardens, with all of these things. But what will really help the government so that we have a private-public partnership is infrastructure, however you want to define it. However you want to define it. But if we can get that type of tax credit, I think it would be huge encouragement for us, because we're going to have interest income from our investments here that will provide income for us that we need to expense against. And no, I'm not a CPA. No, I'm not a tax attorney. And of course, I don't play one on TV or on the Big Call. However, I know enough about that to know that that would really be helpful. And I think it'd be encouraging to get more involvement from the country. There's a way for you guys to figure that out. I'd love to see it. I think you'd benefit. I think the entire country would benefit from that. Just an idea. Please take it and run with it and see what you can do with it. It makes its way all the way up to the president. I know he gets it. He's very much on top of the economy. He's very much on top of us rebuilding America and making America great again. And that's what we're going to do. So, we're not only going to rebuild America, we're going to rebuild other areas too. We're just going to start here at home. And then when we get things rolling here and we feel comfortable, we'll take it